So one of the things that I'm finding is it helps me to get out of the house from time to time and to come into the shop and spend a little time here a couple days a week or every other day, depending on the weather up here in New York. One of the best questions that we got last week was to talk about this car, the Porsche 962, and the first time I got a chance to drive it. And needless to say, it was a spectacular and special occasion for me. Having grown up, seeing my dad race this car as a boy, it had been above the offices at the race shop since it had been fully restored in about 1990. And when we moved into the new shop in 2009, it came with us and it's now sitting here in the showroom. It's had a couple of Rennsports under its belt that went out to the Monterey Historics. Just an epic machine. We got a chance to drive it for the first time in November of 2007. This was when we were running the Porsche RS Spyder in the ALMS, and it was a time when we were still at the forefront of LMP2 competition. It was a high point for the series at that time and for our team. And what the plan was actually to have my dad drive the Porsche RS Spyder and for me to drive this rocket ship and for us to do a compare and contrast. As it happened, unfortunately, my dad broke his leg and couldn't do it. So we still went ahead and did the article, but I got to drive the 962, and needless to say, I was blown away. The car, you get into it as someone, in the 2000s, driving modern stuff with paddle shifts and all of the niceties of the moment, to get back into something that's decidedly analog, and even down to having a key to start the car, unbelievable noise, ambience in the car. Very, very beautifully done. The seating position, even for someone my height, was perfect. The gear lever was exactly where it should be. The steering wheel is exactly where it should be. And like Porsche, so many things with the car were just fantastic. Incredibly, and I think this happens a lot when you drive a vintage car, the car, at first you're thinking, I've got to be really careful with it, I've got to baby it, but it's a race car at the end of the day, so they work best when they're driven somewhat quickly. So when I first rolled out of the pits, I was being pretty careful and, just feeling the car out. It's got the 1984 stock settings in it, a long wing, a small displacement, huge turbo engine, a lot of lag. So after a couple of laps of getting up to speed, we started to give it a little bit of the boot, and let's just say it was pretty mind-blowing. The first time I came onto the back straight and really cracked the throttle and started going up through the gears, it was like being on a jet. The thing never stopped accelerating. It just had the most rewarding whistle to it, and you could just see the road in front of you just disappearing. And you couldn't wait for the next lap. And I think that was kind of what everybody who drove GTP cars thought about them. So that was a really special day for me. Just to put it in perspective, at the time we were rolling through all of the slow and medium speed corners at record speeds in the RS Spyders, and rolling onto the back straight at Sebring, in a pretty good clip, third going up into fourth gear, and creeping around in the 962. As we first got on the power and got down the back straight, we figured we were probably about 15 miles an hour faster at the end of the straightaway. So that was impressive. Full ground effect, surprising amount of grip actually in any medium speed corners, and just phenomenal. You can see why these things were so popular, why people loved them. They not only captured fans' imagination, but I think anybody who raced them was just smitten from the outset. And, it's a car that looks like it's going 200 miles an hour even just sitting there. So it was a really special occasion for me, a kind of a fulfillment of a boyhood dream. And my only regret at the end of the day was that we were no longer racing cars like that. So looking forward to the next time. I hope this was a fun little memory for you. It puts a smile on my face to think about it, and I think we all need to try to smile about it as much as we can right now. So enjoy your day, and thanks for checking in.